Hello, welcome so much. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. First day of the new year. So excited to be sharing some yoga, some movement. We're going to be doing some meditation and a little bit of, I'll give you journal prompts, but if you don't have a pen and paper handy, it's something that you can definitely do later on after the practice. Something that's kind of fun to do to just reflect and also project to what we're looking forward to for this year. So that said, let's just take a couple moments to just kind of come into our practice. I am sitting up on a blanket. You're welcome to use a blanket or a beach towel, anything that you have handy. It's always kind of nice to have for underneath the bum or underneath the knees when we're on our hands and knees. I do have a yoga block handy. I'm not planning anything special with it, but it's nice to have again if you need to support your practice with the block. There's the word for it. Or you can always use again that rolled up blanket to kind of bring things up to you. Or books or even a shoebox is also a nice substitute for that. So let's just go ahead and get those wiggles out. Kind of shifting and adjusting, noticing where there's spaces that might feel a little stiff and sore. And then whenever you're ready to come into your comfortable seated position, that can be with the legs crossed or out long in front. Let's just close the eyes down, let the shoulders roll down away from the ears, and just spend a few moments in quiet. Just taking notice of how the breath is moving through the body this morning. Noticing how we're feeling physically. Doing a little scan and checking in, seeing where there's spaces that are going to need extra care and attention today. And normally at this point, I ask you to kind of clear the mind and set things aside. But I'm just going to give you a little thought to maybe meditate on for a few moments, is to just think for a few moments about something good that happened this past year. So yesterday, this past year, big or small. So maybe you can just make a little running list of things that happened that are great, that are good, that happened in this past year. Maybe there's a big thing that you want to just focus on for these few moments. And just sending our gratitude towards those things, towards those good things that happened in our lives. Together, let's take a nice deep inhale in through the nose. Part the lips, exhale, let it go. Again, we're going to inhale in. Exhale, sigh it out, let it go. One more time, inhale. And exhale. On that next inhale, drop the chin in towards the chest. Feel an opening in the back of the neck. Then tilting the forehead, the nose, the chin up towards the ceiling, open up in the throat. We're going to pause here for a moment. And we're just going to open the jaw nice and wide. We're going to make some guttural noises, just a nice Let's do that again, inhaling. Exhale, sigh it out, make a noise. One more time, inhale. Exhale, make some noise, let it go. Releasing chin back down towards the chest. Taking the right ear over towards the right shoulder. Pause for just a moment. Release the chin back down towards the chest. And then take the ear over to the opposite side. Bringing chin back down towards the chest. And then we're going to lift the head, keeping head lying with spine. Bring the palms together. Start to rub them back and forth, creating some heat and friction here. Waking up all the nerve endings, the nadis, those energies in our hands. We have thousands of nerve endings in our hands. It's nice to kind of unite with the hands. The hands are directly linked to our heart. So it's nice to kind of link in to our heart with our hands. Then we're just going to take the palms apart and we're just going to do a little tap in. So we're just tapping into the outside of our hands, to that pinky side of the hands. Just a few times, no harm. Again, it's a nice little warm up, wake up, a little bit different of a wake up in through the hands. And just feel that vibration up through the wrists, up through the forearms, moving into the shoulders. And again, that vibration directing into that heart center. Nice. Now we're going to bring those hands back together. We're going to create a fist. And in this fist, we're going to set a little intention here, or set something that we want to put into this fist, into this hand. And I'm going to ask you this question. What or who are you grateful for? What or who are you grateful for? Just close the eyes and just put that into this fist here. And then we're going to keep the knuckles interlaced and we're going to send those hands forward. So now we're sending palms forward, tuck the chin in towards the chest, and use this as a metaphor to send that out to whomever you are grateful for or whatever you are grateful for. Keeping the interlace of the hands, bring the palms up above the head. Roll the shoulders down and away from the ears. Make sure that we're not tensing up in the lower part of the body. And then keeping the interlace of the hands, we're going to turn the heart center over towards that right side. Return to center, and then tilt and turn over to the left side. Returning back to center, we're just going to tilt now over towards that right side. Feel that side body, that side door of the heart open up. Come back up and tilt over to the other side. Raising back up, we're going to turn again over towards that right side. We're going to release the clasp of the hands and come into a full twist. Right hand is behind, left hand is to the outside of that leg. Wave the hands up and then find that twist over on the other side. See if you can leave this twist with the belly button. Feel that opening again through the shoulders. And then wave the hands up above the head and bring them back down towards the earth. Taking the hands onto the knees, start to guide that chest forward and back. So a few seated cat-cows. Using the legs to hold on to as we guide that chest forward and ripple back into that cat-like posture. Just a few more times, coming forward and rippling back. And then raising up into that tall spine, let's start to go into a circular movement, taking that chest around from knee to knee. Maybe a little tip back on the tailbone as we come around. A nice juicy stretch through the hips, aiding our digestive system here. Also stirring that Kundalini energy. So we're taking that energy from the base of the spine, and we're letting it curl all the way up the spine to the crown of the head. You can brush the belly across the tops of the thighs. You can press the hands to those inner thighs. And then whenever you feel ready, let's just switch directions, taking that over to the other side. Starting to warm up the body even more. And then making your way back again up to that tall spine. Just shrug the shoulders up towards the ears and release them down. Let's do that again. Shrug the shoulders up towards the ears, pull up on the pelvic floor, squeeze everything in, squeeze the face, make fists here, pull on that pelvic floor, up and in, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Giant exhale, release, let it go. Let's do that again. Inhale, draw everything up and in and squeeze. What are you going to let go of here? Let it go. One more time. Great big dramatic squeeze in. Hold that breath, squeeze. Giant exhale, release, and let it go. Beautiful. Coming around to our hands and knees. Feel free again to prop up those knees using whatever you need to pad the knees, and there's always that option too. If you need to pad the wrists, you can roll that mat down once or twice and give a little extra padding there. When we come onto the hands and knees, let's make sure those knees are underneath the hips, and the hands are nice and wide, and they're right underneath the shoulders. So when we arrive here in this tabletop position, instead of going straight into our cat-cow movements, we're just going to do a little tilt of that pelvis in and out. So it's a very small movement. We're isolating it to that lower back, a tilt in of that pelvis. I'm going to broaden you through that sacrum area as we tilt it back. Just a few more times, tilting in and back. Now we're going to take that into a circular movement, and it's still kind of a small movement. It's an intuitive movement. We're just making little figure eights, little hula movements, taking that, taking that pelvis in towards the low ribs, and then we're circling it around. Then reverse the direction, same thing, just a little circle of that pelvis. Still checking in with that digestive system as well as checking in with hips and low back. And then come into your neutral tabletop position. We're going to switch things up a little bit, where we're just going to bring the forearms down to the earth. And then we're going to start with that, with that cat-cow movement again. So it's a little bit different with the forearms down. We're going to tilt that pelvis in, and we're going to let it ripple all the way up. Tuck the chin in towards the chest. And then dip the belly down, take that gaze up. So a few times, rippling all the way through, bringing that chin in towards the chest. And then releasing, coming back into that cow-like posture. Now I'm going to let you go ahead and go into some intuitive movements. And what I mean by that is you can add that little hip sway, that little turn of the hips and that pelvis that we had just a moment ago, or you can continue through that cat-cow, or you can just add something that is calling out to you. Maybe it looks like what I'm doing, maybe it looks completely different. And that is okay. This is your practice and your time. Just a few more moments, feeling through the spine, feeling through the hips, feeling through the belly. Maybe you feel it somewhere else. Nice. Then we're going to come into stillness. We're just going to walk the knees back and come into our Sphinx posture. So coming on the way, not to the belly necessarily as much as that pubic bone, because we're keeping that belly button lifted off the earth. If you feel pinching in the low back, walk the feet a little bit wider or walk the elbows a little further forward. We're going to roll the shoulders back so they're towards the hips and towards the heels. Release the chin down towards the chest. Again, feeling this nice stretch into the back of the neck. And then taking a gaze over that right shoulder. Releasing chin back down towards the chest. And then taking a peek over that left shoulder. Coming back to center, take the gaze up. We're going to turn that right arm so that that forearm is towards the front of the mat. We're going to bend into that left knee, and we're going to reach the hand back to hold on to the foot. If this isn't accessible, that is okay. You can just let the heel kind of yearn towards the bottom. You can hold on to yoga pants, you can hold on to ankle, or you don't have to hold on at all. You can just let the hand rest along the back. And then you can stay lifted, or you can come down into more of a passive stretch, resting the forehead down on that forearm. We're just here for a few breaths, getting this nice quad stretch. And notice what happens when you press into that pointy part of that hip bone so that you can find a little more space in the quad. So we press through the front body to protect that back body and open up a little bit more. Now, if you are holding on to the foot, release it down to the earth. Taking that left hand, we're just going to bring it right next to the left ribs. And now we're just going to lift the chest coming into a twist here. And I'm not lifting the hips up. I'm trying to keep them grounded as much as possible, getting this nice stretch through the heart here. So bottom part of our legs and our pubic bone are pressing into the earth, and we're opening up into that side body, little side squeeze. And then come around to center, place both forearms down, rest the forehead, pick up the feet, and just windshield wiper the feet a little bit side to side. Tops of feet come down onto the earth. We're going to take that left arm now so that it is at a 45-degree or 90-degree angle at the front of the mat, bending into that right foot, coming back to capture the foot, which is not the goal. If it's not accessible, it is okay. You can just let that heel come in towards the glute. And again, the more you press into the front body, the more of a stretch you're going to get into that good muscle of that quad. And if you stay lifted, you're going to open up through the shoulder and through the heart. Or you can make this passive and just rest here with the forehead down on the back of that arm. Sending breath into those spaces that are calling out to you. Let the breath flow to where it needs to go. So where is that attention? Where do you need to release any tension? Now we're going to release that foot down. Take the right hand next to the right rib cage and then peel that chest open to the right side. Again, we're really heavy through that pubic bone and through the hips. That right hip is going to come up a little bit naturally, but we're trying to keep it down towards the earth as much as possible. Releasing this hold, bring the arms around, create that pillow, lift the feet up, and just windshield wiper the feet side to side a few times. Tops of feet come back down onto the earth. Take the hands underneath the shoulders, and we're just going to shift back, coming into a child's pose of your choice. That can be wide knee or closed knee, whatever is calling out to you. Take several long, deep breaths. Lifting out of that child's pose, taking that blanket, if you have one, off to the side. Bringing hands right in front of the shoulder heads, tuck the toes underneath, and then just rock back and forth a few times. So we're feeling into the fascia of the feet, getting into the bottoms of the feet. Right now, when we start to wear different shoes, tend to get a little bit more sore into the feet when you're navigating ice here. And then keep those toes tucked under. We're going to walk the hands a little further forward and then hover the knees up. Coming into our first downward facing dog. Spend a few moments pedaling through the feet. nodding the head. Just making any gentle movements and adjustments that you need. Then coming into stillness, sinking the heels down towards the earth. Again, they may not come all the way down, and that is okay. The head is heavy between the biceps. We turn the biceps in and the triceps, the triceps in and the biceps forward. Bend the knees, take a look forward, and we'll stroll all the way to the front of the mat. At the front of the mat, we're going to meet in our forward fold. Come into your version of halfway lift. Then melt back down again to fold. Again, halfway lift. Folding back down. Press through the heels, bend through the knees, sweep the hands to reach up and overhead. Palms meet above the head and gentle into heart center. Trace the midline. So we're bringing those thumbs across the face, across the heart, and we're going to just come back down into that fold. Part the hands, bend through the knees, sweep the hands to reach up and overhead. Once again, palms meet, and then we trace the midline with a thumb coming all the way down, bowing back again to that forward fold. Again, press through the heels, bend through the knees, sweep the fingertips up and overhead. And one more time, palms trace the midline as we come all the way back down into that fold. Part the hands and come into your halfway lift. Folding back down. Bending through the knees, sweep the hands to reach up and overhead. This time when palms meet, just land them at heart center for a moment. Pause. Inhale, reaching up skyward. Taking a hold of that right wrist, we're going to guide it over to the left side. Now notice how we want to kind of collapse that weight to the left side. See what happens when we press evenly through both feet. Maybe even a little bit more into that corner of that right foot, finding more space in that side body. Return back up to center. Take a hold of that opposite wrist and take that wrist over towards the right side. Again, pressing through the left foot, finding more space in that side body. Coming back up to center, we're going to do that once again. We're going to hold onto the wrist, bring it over to the left side. Then we're going to put weight into that left foot and cross the right ankle over to the left side. So now we're bringing the foot over to the left side and we're having this little clasp of the hand, little gentle tug, some traction over to left side. Feel the stretch all the way down that side body. Maybe feeling it into the psoas and feeling it into that hip flexor and maybe into the IT band a little bit. Now keep the legs crossed, bring the hands up and overhead. Take the hands to the hips. If you need to walk the foot in a little bit so you feel more balanced, please do so. We want to square the hips towards the front of the mat. Hinging forward, we're going to lean here. You can stay right here in this half lift, or you can come all the way down into that fold. This is a great space if you need to use a block to bring the hands to. Now notice if you're locking out either knee. You have a tendency to lock out that back knee. See if you can keep some softness behind the knee. Taking hands to the hips, very slowly unwind to come all the way back up to standing. Release the cross of that ankle. Go ahead and shake and shimmy out through the hips a few times. Now we're going to find that on the opposite side, reaching fingertips up and overhead. Taking a hold of the left wrist, we're going to gently tug it over to the right side. Now stepping the left foot behind the right ankle. Come into this a little bit deeper. Find your balance here. Keep pressing through the feet. Keep breathing. So good to get into those intercostal muscles, get into that waistline. Now keep the cross of the feet. Take the hands up and overhead. Release the wrist Take the hands to the hips. Again, if you need to adjust and walk that foot in closer, please do so. We're going to come into that half lift once again. This is a great space to stay. Or if you would like to, you can fold down, draping the body down, bringing hands to earth or block. Do a little check-in. Make sure you have some softness behind both knees. Keeping the hips square, feeling this nice opening through that left leg, through that left side of the left body. I'm feeling it in my right side too today. Take the hands to the hips and very slowly unwind to come back up to standing. Release the cross of the feet, pedal, shimmy, shake. Find some unstructured movement here. Nice. And we're going to come at the front of the mat. We're going to take our right foot forward. Let's step the left foot back to come into our warrior two position. That back heel or the arch of that back foot is in line with that front heel. Take the arms out into a T shape. So we're going to bend into that knee. Make sure that that knee is staying trapped in the center. It has a tendency to want to go towards that big toe side. And we're going to press it so that it's in line with those middle three toes. Arms are parallel with each other. And then we're just going to reverse our triangle here. So taking that hand to the low back or to that back leg as you reach the upper arm up and above the head. Now forearm is going to come to the top of the thigh as we bend that knee. So that right forearm comes to the thigh. Back hand reaches up and overhead into our extended side angle. We're going to flow, we're going to talk. We're going to flow through a few of these a few times. So we're going to straighten the leg, send that back hand along the low back or that back leg, coming into that reverse triangle. Then bending into the knee, taking the forearm of that front arm up to the leg, back arm reaches up and overhead. Straighten again, come into that reverse triangle. Bend the elbow, bring it to the top of that thigh. Back arm reaches up and overhead. Now stay here with me. We're going to take this upper hand, we're going to bring it around to the low back, towards that bent knee. So towards that right leg. And we're going to peel that shoulder up and take the gaze up towards the ceiling. Notice if you're collapsing down into the forearm on the knee, see if you can stay lifted here. Opening up that heart, preparing that heart to receive. Lifting the hand back up above the head. We're going to take both hands down, bringing hands around towards center. Pivot the toes so that they are facing out, and we're going to come up into your goddess squat. So widen the feet or close the feet out a little bit. I'm going to just shift a little bit back and forth a few times. Feeling through the knees, feeling through the hips. Then centering here, taking hands to heart, sternum towards the thumbs. We're going to do some energy here, or raise our energy here, I should say. We're going to straighten the legs. We're going to take the hands out, pressing that bad energy away. Inhale, sink in, bringing good energy into that heart. Exhale, press away what no longer serves you. Inhale, sink down, bring in light and love here. Again, press away, open out, and come back in, sink down. One more time, open out, and then sink back in. Straighten the legs, turn the toes so that they're facing slightly in and the heels out. Take the hands to the hips, hinge forward to come into your half lift. Then melt the hands down, coming into a wide-legged forward fold. Pressing that tailbone up to where the ceiling meets the wall. Right hand is below the face. We're going to peel that left hand up, open up into a twist. Palm comes back down to the earth. Left hand is down on earth or block, and that right arm is going to raise up. Both hands come down. Take the hands to the tops of the thighs. Tuck that tailbone and round it, come all the way back up to that tall spine. Now we're just going to pivot and turn that left foot out. If you're facing away from me, it's okay. You've been here before. We're going to find that fluidity. Just listen to my voice coming into that warrior two. Roll the shoulders back. Press that knee towards the pinky toe side, breathing. Now we're going to straighten that left leg. Take that left arm up and over. Right hand comes along the low leg or towards that back. Bending into the left knee, take the left forearm to the top of the thigh, extended side angle. Then we're going to float back again, reversing our triangle. Does one side feel a little stiffer than the other? Just notice without passing judgment. Come back again into that extended side angle. Once again, reversing that triangle. Forearm comes to the top of that left thigh. Right arm reaches up and overhead. Then we wrap it around, find a little bind here. Taking the hand towards the low back on that left side. Peel that right shoulder open. Take a gaze up towards the ceiling. Breathe into your strength here. Breathe into that opening of that heart. Reaching the arm back up. Flip the hand down. Come around to center. Pivot the toes. Then face them out. Coming back again to our goddess squat. So in our goddess squat this time, we're going to take the hands right on top of the thighs, right above the knees. And we're going to drop that right shoulder in towards center. Press that thigh open and take a gaze over that left shoulder. Come back around to center, dropping the left shoulder in, pressing that thigh open, take a peek over the right shoulder. One more time on each side, dropping the shoulder in, peeking up over that raised shoulder, and then around to the other side. Perfect. Come back around to center. Tuck that tailbone under, around, all the way up. Heel toe the feet so that we step to the front of the mat. Inhale to reach up tall. Palms meet again. Trace the midline. Fold all the way down into your bow. Release the palms down onto the earth and step back 1 foot at a time, coming into that down dog once more. Notice if there's a change and a shift in your down dog. Notice if there's a change and a shift from your first down dog. Knees come down to the earth. We're just going to swing the legs around and bring them out front. Taking that right foot in to the inseam of the left leg. Left leg is at about a 45-degree angle here. Foot is going to be flexed and turned in towards the shins. Reaching fingertips up. We're going to rest the left forearm down next to or onto that thigh. We're going to reach that right arm over towards that extended foot. Really rooting down through that right knee and right sit bone. Use that core strength to lift you up, both hands raised. Now turn the torso towards that extended leg. Take this length. So I like to think about up and then over, then folding. Foot is not necessarily the goal. The hands can rest on the earth, next to the shins, or even up next to the thighs. We're guiding that chest forward and then folding. Notice if the shoulders are crowding the ears. See if you can roll them down and away. Walk the hands in towards the thigh. Press yourself back up to that tall spine. Now we're just going to switch out. So bringing that opposite foot in towards the inseam of that thigh. Flexing through that right foot. Inhale, reaching up. Bringing that right arm to the top of the thigh. Taking that left arm up and over so the ear kind of falls down towards that extended leg. And we want to open up through the chest here too. So spiral that heart open. Nice, generous, deep breathing. And then lifting up, bringing both hands up. We're going to turn the torso towards that extended foot. Lift the chest and then fold forward. Roll shoulders down and away from the ears. Nose is towards the knee. Left knee and left sit bone are heavy towards the earth. Walk the hands in and press yourself to come back up. I'm just going to bring the soles of the feet out, or soles of feet together. Got a little zip out there. Knees out nice and wide. Rock and shift here. And we're going to come into our Baddha Konasana, into our forward fold. You can hold onto the feet or place the hands onto the earth. You can make this an active stretch by pressing crown of head forward and tailbone down, or you can tuck everything in and round. Slow the breath down. And just imagine opening the back door of the heart now, opening it for receiving as well. Taking the hands onto earth, use the palms to help press yourself to come all the way back up to seated. Take the hands to the knees and zip the knees in. Just going to make our way to our back side. Come on down and snuggle knees in towards the chest. Give it a nice good squeeze and hug here. Might feel good to rock a little bit, massaging out the back. Might feel good to draw circles on the ceiling with the knees. Getting into that kidney meridian, into that space of our spine, into our sacrum. Reverse that circle. And then squeeze the knees back in towards the chest once again. Keeping the right knee squeezed in towards the chest. Take the left leg long towards the base of the mat. Now holding on to that right knee with the left hand, we're just going to guide it over towards that left side. Coming into a twist here. Taking the right arm out into a T or cactus shape. See if you can keep the shoulders united with the earth. Maybe getting the hips stacked, so that upper hip stacked above that lower hip. Unwind, come back into our center, squeeze that right knee back in, and we're just going to cross the ankle over the top of that left thigh, coming into this figure four shape, into this reclined pigeon for a moment. You can keep that left foot down on the earth, or you can pull that knee in. You can straighten the foot up. If it feels like you're straining the neck to come up here, let that rolled up blanket behind the back of the shoulders, or just keep the leg down on the earth. And yogis, you have a choice here to stay in stillness, or maybe a little gentle rocky movement feels good. If you have the leg raised or the hands interlaced behind the leg, gently release that. Let the foot come down to the earth, uncross the ankle. Draw both knees in towards the chest once again and squeeze. This time, keeping the left knee in towards the chest, elongate the right leg down towards the base of the mat. Pull this knee in for a moment, get this nice stretch into the hip flexor. Now holding on to the knee with the right hand, we're going to guide it over that extended leg and come into a twist here. Left arm comes out into a T or a cactus shape. See if you can keep the shoulders united with the earth and maybe getting that upper hip, that left hip above the right hip. And then send the breath deep down into that belly, into this twist. So we're ringing out that spine. What a great way to ring in the new year. This is a little cheesy. Ringing in the new year by ringing out the spine. Come around to the center with the hips, crossing that left ankle over the top of that right knee, keeping that right foot on the earth or interlacing the hands behind the thigh and gently pulling this in towards the chest. You can take the foot up towards the ceiling. You can keep it on the ground. Whatever is calling out to you, and just know what you did on the other side does not have to look like what you do on this side. Each side of our body is different. Each side of our body needs different things. If you're holding on to the leg, gently release it down. Uncross that knee, bringing feet either wide as the yoga mat, knees tucked in towards each other, or down to the base of the mat. We're going to come into our Shavasana, so feel free to support yourself, kind of cover yourself up with that blanket, or you can use that roll blanket and place it beneath the knees or the head. Just taking a couple moments here to absorb all the nourishment of your practice. The quote that I am utilizing today is, "I close my eyes to old ends and open my heart to new beginnings." I'll repeat that. "I close my eyes to old ends and open my heart to new beginnings." That's Nick Frederickson that wrote that. Just taking a couple more breaths here. Notice the flow of your breath through the body. And scan the body once again and notice if there's any changes from when we began. And then bringing your awareness back to your physical body, start to wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe nodding the head yes and no a few times. Extending hands overhead, find this full deep body stretch. And then release and let it all go. Place the soles of the feet onto the earth, bend the knees, and then go ahead and rock yourself to the right or left hip just for a moment for a pause in your fetal position. Taking a moment here in this posture of rebirth, maybe setting an intention for what you're going to open your heart to this year. Top hand supports you as you very slowly rise all the way up to come into seated. When we arrive and seated, just give yourself one moment to feel the full effects washing through your body. So take some time today to reflect and also project. And one of the things that I think is very important to set a goal of is maybe make a list of the ways that you're going to take care of yourself this year. How do you take care of yourself? How are you going to take care of yourself this year? Palms unite at heart center. I want to thank you so much for joining me today, sharing your practice and your energy. I hope you have a fantastic day and a very abundant, magical new year. Namaste.